We've got
Oh,
Sandy Wagner, our presenter today. She's going to go over AI opportunities for language teaching and learning. I've got all these things to approve. The Firefly, the AI companion, everybody, and some aren't even human, right? Just coming in.
well, that's not
I'll tell
nice.
you what, the AI companion is great because
Yeah,
especially for us, it's made our job of meeting notes, taking for our secretary a lot easier than it used to be. It's been
yeah.
a blessing. Another minute. We're about noon here. I'm going to monitor both sides. So welcome everyone to our Wednesday noon session Eastern Time with Sandy Wagner, talking about AI opportunities for language teaching and learning. I'm Pat Casella, Executive Director for USDLA. I am going to moderate today's session. Please use the chat window to ask any questions, or you can go raise your hand. The last few sessions we've done have been very interactive. So if there's something that you want to make a comment on during a particular slide, just again, raise your hand, put it in the chat window. I'm going to be monitoring them, and we'll dovetail right into what Sandy is talking about. So without further ado, Sandy, I am going to turn it over to you, and I will
Okay.
drive your slides for you.
Oh, thank you so much, Pat. Well, as Pat said, my name is Sandy Wagner. I'm an associate professor at the Defense Language Institute in Monterey, and we're doing a lot with AI and facing issues, but also we're facing a lot of wonderful possibilities. So this session today, I really am a strong believer, and we're really moving toward that in this crowdsourcing. And I thought a good part of the session would also be to share some, challenges you'll see when we get there, and maybe learn about something that's been really at the forefront for us called modernization of learning, and especially with AI. So I've been doing a lot with our teachers, and wanted to share a lot of that with you, and hope that you'll also contribute what's going on with your institutions so that we can begin to capitalize on what we're all doing. So just one more bit of information. If you're not familiar with Defense Language Institute, we are a Department of War, Department of Defense, I call them both, institution, and serving the U.S. military, and we train our military linguists for their missions, whether, it ranges from peacekeeping to combat or defense. So anyways, and that's a big focus for us. And if you notice my image on the front slide, that's just depicting the way we want to bloom. And I'll get into that too with something that we've been promoting here. So next slide, please, Pat, thank you. And the next slide is just a disclaimer. That I have to include that because these views are mine, and even though I am a federal employee, I'm a civilian, they represent my my opinions, my information, not the federal government. So. And what I wanted to do, there wasn't really a clear abstract, and I was pulling what was important. I don't know if you've heard the term modernizing learning, and we'll get into that too, but it really helps us take a look at how we're moving forward. And we know that we're not in a stagnant learning environment. We're in a very dynamic one, and we have a lot of issues to face, different ones for different topics or areas that you're involved with. And I did use AI, just like Pat was saying, he was using AI to record. And it's become very helpful, but it doesn't mean that everything AI and Gen AI and chatbots do is beneficial for us. And that's a really important overarching theme of this whole presentation. So let's move on to the next slide. That is me. I had AI create that, and sometimes you can just have wishful thinking and create your dream image, whatever. So what I'd like to do before we begin, we love appreciative inquiry only. Let's do it for AI. And what I'd like you to do, I created a Padlet, and we're going to be going back to that because it is a pedagogical representation of what I call our learning ecosystem. And if you could go there, you can QR code. I also put the link in chat. And if you could go there, and if you look at the first column, How has AI been beneficial for you in either a personal or professional capacity? If you hate AI totally, then you can just say, hey, it just hasn't benefited me, and maybe you'll find one thing from this presentation that you can apply. So Pat, can we pull that up too on the screen so we can kind of see what everyone's doing? If not, no worries. Oh, there you go. So if you look, I did the first post, and this is too funny. So I actually did a retreat in Italy last year. It was yoga, and I want to go back this year, and also because I design a lot of our curriculum, and we're all linguistic specialists in how we can best learn. I decided to put together on my own first an Italian course based on the principles that we teach here at DLI, which is immersion, cultural immersion, and along with all the other components that are necessary, but more, working with communication and actually applying what we're learning in the classroom. So what I did was I was on Facebook and I was just looking for Italian groups. And lo and behold, every day I get something that you can see in my image there. If you're not familiar with Padlet, if you click on the plus below the topic, why I love AI, you can just add text, you can add an image, you can add a video, you can see all the possibilities. And again, this has modernized, and you'll see what I'm talking about later on in the presentation. So I'll give you a couple minutes.
Yeah, and I put that link in the chat window as well, like I mentioned.
Yeah, thank you. So, and here's the good news. This is something I hope that you will continue to come back to, share it. Oh, AI policy issue. Good. Thank you. Thank you. I love it. Independent learner here, but this is another place for you. Get those ideas out there, because part of what I want to do too is when you share those issues with other people, we may have addressed it. I have one I'm going to share with you later on. Exactly. Okay, that's a very good point. And other people can then comment on that and help you. If you look below, you can actually respond to that. And this is a good way to go back and forth. And this document is living even when we're not here together. So it makes us more productive. But okay, perfect. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. All right, you can, as we move through it, we'll come back and revisit this. So if you want to keep that in mind, I think we probably should move on, or we will run out of time.
Sure.
Thank you, Pat. Okay, so, and if you notice, I call it my Padlet ecosystem, and we're going to get back to that too. So I'd like to talk a little bit about policy, since this is Public Policy Week. I know you've heard policies, but I don't know about you, but when it came down, when we first started really using AI and our students were just using it, we were getting, I would say, unintended plagiarism. We don't test writing ability, but writing for us is a good way to practice languages. And so we had to try and come up with formal policies. This goes back to even before the Biden era, and everybody's still scrambling. And we have come a long way, but I just wanted you to see, I kind of categorize them into formal policies, which are policies you've heard, what you find on the internet. If you go, actually, the White House has a really good site that has not changed much over the years, because it talks about policy, but it gives you resources. So that's just something I have it in the references at the end of the presentation I'll share with you. But I looked at it as there's formal policies, and then there's common sense. So, I mean, if you agree with me, can you give me a thumbs up or something on that? Anyways, let's go on to the next slide, because I think this will be kind of fun. So thank you for the thumbs up. Yeah, good. I figured you would. Yeah, I'm all about, we make rules, but sometimes those rules are more detrimental than they are productive. So what I did was, this was taken, I used AI to help me. And I can honestly tell you that I'm very confident, and I'll tell you why later, but it's a process that you need to do when we're actually getting information. So I want you to look at each one of these and decide if it would apply more to formal policies or to common sense. So rapid and uneven. And you can just kind of, you do a thumbs up, or well, that's not going to work in the chat if you want to post either formal or common, whatever, or F or C, so we can kind of get an idea. And then this is animated. Pat, if you want to hit the animation, rapid and uneven should be animated.
Where do you want me to hit?
Oh, just click
There you go.
yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Formal.
So
Yeah.
it's part of a formal policy. Rapid and uneven, that's scary, right? I mean, the policies are there, but they don't apply to everybody. They don't. It kind of links back to me. I'm finding that our general pedagogies always seem to link back to this is learner autonomy. This is, aligning to learners' needs. They're different. What about responsible?
Let's go there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Common sense. Right. And I think the two words that have kind of transcended all these changes have been responsible, and there's another one too. When and how. Yeah. Formal. Okay, so we need to know when and how we can use them. We need to define these more. And even when you need to bring it down. So for example, if you're at the elementary level and you're doing distance learning, it has to be, oh, here we go, comprehensible. I gave it away. There, at common sense, right? So formal policies are, I don't know about you, but I read some of them, they're very confusing. So that's where we use our common sense, make it comprehensible. So even, a younger child, or even, even in the military, I work one-on-one a lot when we're doing translation interpretation training at high levels. So for example, a Russian linguist, they have treaties that they work with, they're in the middle doing the translation, and it's two-way, and you have to be, it's responsive immediately. And they need to be able to make things comprehensible, use common sense. So when they're training, I would have them do exercises. I would ask them to write, and I'd read this perfect, and this was at higher levels of English. These were native speakers whose first language was not English, but we have to make sure their high level of Russian is commensurate with their high level of English. And I'm reading and I'm going, I know this is not your writing because I see your pattern of errors. And, when we chatted, and he said, well, I wanted to make sure it was correct. And I said, but if you don't show me your work that you do without AI, I don't know where you're making mistakes, and I can't help you remediate the errors you're making. And then I came back with, but before you turn it in, you send me your original and then put it through AI. And AI is not necessarily going to be totally correct, as we know, but it'll be a good way to compare. And it's a good test. So here's the native speaker correcting it, and now here's AI seeing what they did, and then we get a true judgment of the validity. And again, in certain areas, it's much more accurate. Even when we go to languages, Spanish and French, I would say Chinese, when our students go there for language practice, and they have an AI companion, it's much more advanced and sophisticated because it's been trained more. You go to less commonly taught languages and you have a lot more errors. So you have variations like that. Flexible, formal, common sense. Okay, common sense. Yeah, we need flexibility. Like I said, I'm not going to get angry at my student. First of all, we have a relationship, and it was easy for me to say, "Oh my God, please don't do that," because then I don't see where you're making mistakes. And he understood, and that flexibility of me offering him alternate ways to use AI, that's a big key. We don't want to say don't. What we want to say is beneficial here. Use this, do this, because the area you're teaching, and maybe in some cases you do need to say absolutely don't do it. And then training would be more formal. So you can kind of see that interlap. So no matter how many policies we do understand, we really need to have that common sense aspect behind it. So next slide, please.
You got it. And a comment, Sandy, just reading the
I'm sorry. Thank you. Yeah.
No, it's good, from Bruce. I'll just say, Bruce's thoughts are, common sense is an unreliable partner in guiding AI policy, which it is to a degree, right? And it's subject to bias because one person's common sense can't be another person's common sense. So that's
Right.
it's a
Right. Oh,
valid
thank you,
statement.
Bruce. Thank you.
Yeah,
But
I think the hope there is that mm, as the models learn, they will get more intelligent as time goes
yeah,
on. In other words, common sense. Yep. Just like anything, the majority at some point in time, hopefully, the majority will have more of an influence than the
right,
minority on
right.
shaping the models.
Well, and I think the other aspect of that is it's knowing your subject area. So for language learning, you have certain things that I call them things you can grab that makes sense to a student. When you put it into, this is all about helping you advance, and we have to be that way because we're very high stakes with the language we teach, because a wrong pronunciation, a wrong interaction, or in the wrong way. Like, with Italian, I learn gestures, and I'm not even going to speak with my hands if I go there because I'll get in trouble. I know I'm going to do something that might offend. But yeah, so that in that respect, absolutely. And I think it's what's your subject matter? How much leniency can I give? So here's what happened. This is from Copilot, and this was a brainstorm. And you can see what happened, the response to me. And the reason I want to show you this now is later on, I'm going to talk about prompting and the changes from as we modernize. And modernize doesn't mean, okay, I'm going to buy the cutest new outfit in any field. It has a deeper connotations. So, but if you look at the words, I took a lot of it from rapid, uneven, I thought was really interesting. And this was research. And I'm going to share with you, I was very confident presenting this to you today because it gave me sources, and I'll show you. And I actually asked it to reiterate. I went and I checked every one of the links it gave me. Sure enough, I fact checked. Now, what it did was it culls information. It was giving me generalizations, but they were based on information from reliable sources. So that's the other key aspect. I would never have presented this to you if I saw, oh my God, it's hallucinating, or it's just making things up, and it's from somebody on X. I'm not using social media, although LinkedIn, I do meet some wonderful experts, and here I do too. So, but if you look at emphasis, these were the trends, and this is current, from ban or allow to when and how. Those policies, again, that movement there. So some you may want to ban, but some you can allow. Emphasis on academic integrity. I don't think that's changed. And I call that staying modern, meaning those are like, we call the seminal, you have seminal literature pieces. That's what that is. Institutional responsibility. Yes, we are held to task. So if something did come up and there was misuse, I mean, for us, it affects big army, and that's like not a good thing. So we're very careful. Okay, next, please. Thanks, Pat. So I wanted to show you this because this is moving now towards the modernization of AI prompting, and how we shouldn't even be, we were doing that. We have templates, but we need to now move beyond, because after I did this, and it's a whole long PDF document, it said, well, would you like me to create some PowerPoint slides? Well, are they my favorites? No, but as we move ahead, this is another beneficial way to cut your workload without compromising validity, quality, because it comes up with the general idea and then you tweak. And I actually deliberately left, you can see sample footer, it left me little notes, but it just said, do you want me to create something that just kind of, summarizes AI policy trends in universities? And that was my prompt. And I also included with a focus on language learning. So that may not be your focus, but that was mine. So that's when this was beneficial. Next slide, please. And you can, I'm not crazy about that, but you can see here's global trends. I mean, you can take a quick look. Yeah, I was just looking, and common sense isn't so common these days, I know, but we can try. We'll just keep pushing that. Transition to structured governance, transparency, academic integrity never goes away. Global, Yeah, I think with the current situation going on in the world, we have to watch that closely. That's going to be a big key. Curriculum integration, yes, yes, definitely. And we actually, our new students, we just, I work in continuing education, so we do advanced language training and for intermediate and advanced, and we're starting two levels with about 78 students. So next week we actually go in and do an orientation. So we're promoting that AI literacy, and I'll go into that to a key element we provide. Okay, next slide. Again, this is still from the AI. It's just a review, rapid expansion of AI guidelines. You can see, and there's some good ideas here that you can pick up on. I'm not going to spend too much time here. Next slide, please, Pat, because this is AI.
Mhm.
And this I thought was really interesting. If you look at the different approaches, again, we're global, we're interconnected, we're everywhere. And it's got US, Japan, China, Europe, and you can see their governance approach and their key focus, which I don't know about you, I find that really interesting. You'd think we'd all be with the same priority, but any thoughts on that?
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
This chart, this does not surprise me one bit.
No, maybe probably more restrictive governments, the ones that may not be total democracies. And I'm not going into that terminology, but yeah. Do we have any comments? I want to make sure. Okay, still have Bruce's.
No, I don't see any in
Are we
them.
good? Okay. All right, next slide. And you can, so these were the transition slides, and this is not my favorite, but I did this one just to show you. So this is redefining original work, policy revisions, pedagogy, assessment redesign. Oh my goodness. That's tough. That's been very challenging for our teachers. Ethical integration. And I think that's what we need to hold. And if you notice, I've seen a lot of academic integrity policies from the universities, and they've had to add the ethical AI in there so that the students, I think they do still sign those. So hopefully their word is good.
We got in on this yesterday during
Yeah.
the first session and the second session. First session, Rob Robinson was talking a little bit about this, especially the assessment redesign, which, we use the analogy of I'm an engineering major, so I can go back and talk
Yeah.
about,
Yeah.
the early days when calculators were just coming around, right? And then there was a big thing, can't use calculators in the classroom. And then
Exactly.
eventually you're allowed to use calculator. Why? Because it was a productivity improvement. This is all what AI is about. It's productivity improvement, right? So eventually calculators were allowed, policies were written to allow them. Eventually cell phones. Now, there's certainly controversy today. Can you use cell phones in the classroom or not? Some say yes, some say no, depending, but there's been more tolerance for it. And, the whole analogy of when you had to do research in the old days, go to the library, go get your cards, go get the book out, go get it. It took forever to go do this. Well, we're all advancing as a society. I mean, so this is what AI is doing. So the assessment redesign is critical here, right? This is taking into account the use of AI, not so much saying it can't be used, but how can it be used? And this is where you get into the, on the pedagogy side, the strategies for use on there, the revisions as far as where it can be and where it can't be used, and certainly on the ethical side. So, this certainly ties into our conversations that we had yesterday, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And everybody's learning from one another. Nobody has all the answers for this yet, right? There's not one chosen person or entity that is the expert.
No.
But, as time goes on, and I have a feeling a lot of it will be from trial and error as to what works, what doesn't work. But I do think we will get there eventually.
I do. And, Pat, thanks for bringing that up. So another point, you were talking about assessment. So we assess reading, listening, and oral proficiency, which we're not going AI oral proficiency because it's really how you're using the language, and it's very structured, aligned to our standards, the Interagency Language Roundtable. But when we're doing reading and listening, we have to go in and find passages, rate it, and I think you really need to test out any AI, chatbot you use or program. And what we found is we can say to it, I need a passage at level 3, which is, I would say, baseline score for language proficiency, which comes with a set of descriptors of how the language is used at what levels, things like that. And we'll get passages, links, and we'll be really succinct about what we want. Every one of those listening and reading passages still has to be vetted to make sure it's got the appropriate level. It's from a reliable source. It's copyright free to use in an assessment that goes, Army-wide. And so there's a lot that there's all these articles on, oh no, it's going to replace humans. No. And it's still our time. What it saves on is pointing us in the right direction. And over time, you start curating those, especially when you can reuse them, and that's how you're saving time. And again, like you said, it's sharing in it, so it's good, but it's not easy. Yeah.
No.
So ethics, literacy, and student engagement, it was the next slide. And then I think this is the last one. And you can just take a look, embedding in ethics and curriculum. So that's, so when we're teaching, readings on that topic also provide input for language development. So why not combine them? There's your common sense, I guess. So, again, that's for language instruction, and, that's my field. Faculty training, oh my God, yes. So we have in-house symposiums, and because our teachers, many of them are second language learners. They're at base level, what we say 2, which is everyday conversations, but moving up toward more academic proficiency, and they get better as they're here. So we give them opportunities in-house to write abstracts and do things at more higher levels. And some of the abstracts we got were written by AI. And this was in the beginning. That's all changed now. But, you think about it, and for them, because I picked up on it right away because I work with them, and I know when I'm speaking to them, their level is not where that's at. And so we sit down, have conversation, and it's all well-meaning. It's not, I need a grade. It's, I figured, and they're very busy, but I still want the opportunity. And then I'm going to write my own, presentation. But I said, well, if you do that, I'm still not seeing your own work, and, we'll, work with them, especially as they improve their own English at higher levels. But it was that initial, let me just like the ease of it. So yeah, it's interesting because I don't think the motivations are nefarious. I think the motivations are very much, this is going to help me save time. This is going to help me benefit, but that's a benefit we need to throw away. So
yeah, you're right. The productivity improvement. And again, this was another topic, I think, and learning from what the audience was talking about yesterday. Certainly the students are they're younger, they learn faster. It's got to be realistic, right? And faculty does sometimes lag behind, right? They lag behind a little bit. So that is a challenge. Yeah, it is a challenge, right? It is a challenge. We all, I could say you get a little bit older, you don't learn as quickly. And I think that's intimidating a little bit. So yeah, these are real challenges that you have. Which goes, you have to put in a little bit of an effort, on the faculty side, and sometimes it might have to be a little bit more effort these days.
Definitely. So, okay, I am watching time because I don't. Okay, let's move on. Unless does anybody? I'm going to stop here. Does anybody have a comment? And feel free to unmute your mics. I don't. I'll try and save time at the end, but I have some other things I want to show you that I think will be very beneficial moving forward. So if you don't, with your permission, we'll move. Yes, Amanda.
Hi. Thank you so much, Sandy. This is fascinating. If you could go back to the previous slide, I'm just enamored with the content on the previous slide.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
About how we have to rethink everything. It's not just like, we can go on as usual with our digital learning. No, like we really have to stop and rethink, and I would even say revise.
I know. Well, I'm going to stop there because that's where I'm going. with the modernization. So yeah, but we need to talk about it more. Yeah, and I think, and Raymond, yes, accessibility training for faculty is so important. And I have seen some, but it needs to be updated. So, okay,
Absolutely.
next slide, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yep.
think
Get
thanks.
back up to where
Poor
we
Pat, he's
were.
got to be my.
No, I'm doing great.
Okay. Oh, student. Yeah, I'm just going to go through these and move on. Here this is more of the same: inclusiveness, ethical AI culture, again for students and collaboration, and yes, students collaborate in designing their learning experiences. Yes, a lot of good stuff. So, and these will all be available to you, so you can go back and review them. Okay, next slide. Okay, so, and this is the final one, and it just gave me a synopsis, core components, and we could add, so this is what I want to put into that Padlet for our own, this is our learning ecosystem, and we can add to it, comment on it, and if you can see, we touched on assessment, redesign, data privacy, ethics. So there's a lot here. And I think if that discussion remains open beyond 1 hour is not going to help us, kind of really move forward on that. But we can certainly, open up those doors. Okay, next slide. Okay, so here, this is what now in there, you've already done that. I think what I'm going to do with your permission, maybe we'll save a few minutes at the end. If you also take time, you've got 2 assignments kind of here where it says policy concerns, but I did want to bring up a recent policy concern I had here with one of our Russian teachers. And, our students come, it's really high stakes for them. And, I don't know if we're total immersion program, 6 hours a day, at least 3 hours of homework. And then if students need help, they'll get special assistance from military units. They are under a lot of pressure. And, we do what we can. We're very nurturing, but we're also I need you to meet these goals. And, it's daunting. So one of my teachers came up to me, and we have this policy from our provost. It's on our DLI FLC website. You can go there and see it. And basically, it talks about what came down from the federal government, commandant policy, and then it goes down to what we talked about, the common sense piece. And basically, what it says is you may use AI. We had to say you have permission because we were thinking about banning it at first. You can't do that. I mean, it's so powerful and it's there. And what it said was, please abide by your teacher's guidance with respect to AI use. So if they have a speaking class, you're going to have different rules. So what happened was for this, it's an advanced Russian class course. And the guidance they gave was they put a percentage on when they're writing papers, how much of AI quotes or whatever, and half the time they weren't citing, will they accept? So she was having a problem because someone submitted a paper that was like 90%, it was AI. And they put it in this AI checker. And my response was, actually, I should probably hear your response. Okay, think for a minute and then I'll tell you what my response was. Okay, I'm not going to.
This is 90% was written using AI on this particular one that you're talking about?
You mean my presentation?
Oh, no, the one that you were just talking about. That
yeah, this is the student. It was like 80. I think she said it was like 80% the AI checker, which, I don't know how valid that is, but my response to her was, no, there's no percentage. Because if they're writing and it's a language assignment, I understand if you want to quote. And I said, so there's 2 issues here. If you're going to use something AI wrote, and I've asked it for funny little quips sometimes, or you find something and you can link it back to research. But if you're just taking it right from the chatbot, then you have to put in parentheses Copilot or something where they know AI generated that. Mm-hmm. And I said, I would accept 0% input. I said, so, it's really the same as citing someone else's comments in an article or their research. So that was my response to her. She says, that's a good idea. I said, no, you have to be really firm on that. But maybe for something else, maybe for conversation class, They can use AI to help them get information to prepare. And then when they're speaking, if they want to put something in PowerPoint, because they do a lot of presentations in the target languages. So does anybody have any other ideas how you might resolve that? Would you give them a certain percentage where they could use AI? My apologies. That's
no, and everybody could put your answers in the chat window, or you could just come off of mic, and there you are, Amanda.
Yeah.
You're off of mic. Go ahead.
Okay, I mean,
I kind of like the put your answers in chat because mine would be 100%.
Yeah.
I for work, I use AI to do my writing, but I put everything in it first. And if I'm asking it to go outside of what I'm giving it, then
right,
I check the source.
right. But if you were a student writing a paper, and again, this is specific to, they're writing these essays in Russian, very high level on high level topics. How much do you allow for direct quote from an AI, from information? I think, yeah. So yeah, no, that's what I mean. It's situational, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I would do the same thing, which is why I presented that PowerPoint to you, because I checked the resources. So yes,
Right.
thank you.
Yeah. Definitely situational.
Okay, so let's move on. We're going to go back to your issues too, because we can all go back in. But this is so. I'd like to go on now. This is a Mentimeter, and what I did was I call this meaningful modernization. Now, and I just wanted to get your thoughts when you hear the word modernization, and I want to share something to you that our commandant shared. So if you can go there, what are some words that come to mind when you think modernization? Is it just upwelling, upscaling? Is there anything you think of?
I just put that link in the chat.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
I put that bottom link in. Yep.
Yeah, that's the, yeah. So okay.
Hold on. We go previous. One
Yeah.
more. There you go. And the code. Everybody could see the code there.
Yeah.
4, 3, 2, 6.
If you have some ideas, and the reason I wanted to do this is because I don't think, it's such a buzzword. Like when you hear transformative, well, we know it's change. But what's transformative learning? It's, scaffolding instruction. It's looking at current practices. How have we changed? How are we integrating tech? There's a lot. Okay, well, that's okay. If it's not, I don't know if some of you, but let's move on to the slide because I have it recapped in, because I know we're going to run out of time, and I have a couple fun things to show you. Okay, can we go?
See if I can get back there. Hold on. There we go.
Oh, sorry, Pat.
There you are. No, we're good.
Okay, so if you go to the next slide. So these were some of them. Shifting, transforming. Now the ones in black are, I think there was another one coming up. But these are some of the words I got, and I did ask ChatGPT. But so this is unharmful, whatever. And but look at the different way when we're talking about modernizing learning, and that's our buzzword. But how I explain it is, well, you're rethinking things. Is there new pedagogy? And well, with language learning, we know that we started with rote memorization, and then now we're up to you have to have input, but unless you start learning it and practicing it, it's meaningless. So we're transforming, we're updating, we're bridging. So this is what we mean. So let's go to the next slide. Unless there's more. Yeah, there's more. Yeah. So these are elevating. It kind of gets you in that mindset. Look this is what AI is doing for us. Oh, I'm sorry. It shouldn't be asking you, and I checked it. So that's a tech thing. Don't worry about it. So here's what I'd like you to do. This is a little matching exercise. So when we restructure, which one, I'm just going to kind of let you think for a second, and then we'll, do you restructure people, products, partnerships, policies, processes? Which one would be a good match for you guys as you're thinking of modernizing? Okay, let's just go through this. So you're going to restructure.
Restructure processes.
Right. What does that mean when we're restructuring processes? How are we going about? It could go down to our classroom level. Are we collaborating more? Are we brainstorming? What kind of processes are we using? And it could be different. Okay, yeah, and you can work efficiencies. Yeah, there's other things to fill in the blank here. What about streamline? Yeah, our partnerships, we need to make them, much more fluid. Elevating people, yeah. Motivation, there's a lot in there. Yeah, people. Tailor products. Yeah, we need to tailor. So, an instructional lesson is basically a product. You tailor AI, right? You tailor it to your needs and you evaluate policies constantly. And again, we can't stop. It's not like these rules are written. It's not our constitution. It's something that's, more dynamic because we need to change with the technology. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, and I wanted to share, and I call this meaningful modernization because this is what's for me is impacting, and because I'm the Canvas administrator, and I did, help the teachers design Canvas courses, and I have one totally for learning English at higher levels, and I'm modifying constantly because now Canvas lets me take book widgets and put it in the grade book. You have all these new technologies, and some of them really make your job easier. So these are the 5 Ps, and she's got the modernize, and this is where I took that from. Modernizing people, elevating them, give them more responsibility, reward them. We actually have award ceremonies, medals, things like that. Products include software, tailoring the products, your processes, restructuring them so they're smarter. And if you've ever worked for the government, sometimes there's so much red tape and you wish they would restructure that. Partnerships, again, this is where that came from. So this is what we are under now, current guidance, and we have a very proactive, supportive commandant. So we're moving forward with a lot of things and very grateful. She's very well loved. Next. And this is just more of a breakdown. These are my focuses on our products, modernizing them. We do a lot of our own language course design. If you've ever seen them, you go to our DLI website and you can actually learn a language. They're in public domain. If you can't access them, it's because they're sensitive information for military only, but most of them are free for you guys to use. Modernize our processes so we're smarter, and partnerships. And this is a big key area, which is why USDLA and other organizations that, might, besides distance learning, you have other organizations that feed different areas of your institutions. The partnerships are great because you lose expertise if you don't do that. Just for me, partnering with, for example, people from Adobe who have come from the government sector and they know our system. So you learn more, you keep working together, and it benefits everybody. You don't want to lose that brain power just because somebody either retired or went in a new career path. I don't know, like, Pat, when you talk, you're in engineering, but, you've got so much knowledge with distance learning policy, and, it's those outside connections. And, I've benefited from all of you too. Yes. So next slide, please. So this is just a knowledge check. We're going to go through these. Now, I don't know is anyone familiar with learning ecosystems? The reason I wanted to bring this up, it started with the Advanced Distributed Learning Initiative, and I'll explain the premise, but it can be defined and adapted for anything. And what it does is it addresses that accessibility issue. So people can go to one place, your students can go, your instructors can go, and you can have focused ones. So for a long time, I think people felt it had to be at the institutional level, and it doesn't. We have one here just because we have a technology working group, and we are constantly updating it with new products that are government approved, with learning resources, with our policy updates. So our teachers go to one place. We have this SharePoint site, and they can get all that information, because our regular cybersecurity site, it's massive. And, you get a headache kind of clicking around. So we're streamlining. There it is. Okay, let's take a look. You just, yes or no, you can do this is the Marine Corps e-learning ecosystem. I forgot to take that off. Anyways, this is phenomenal, and it really is very robust. And because you can see their virtual learning, all those things, the students go and they get support. Yeah, Amanda, I know. Yes, Amanda, we will definitely talk. And Marine has been very proactive. I haven't seen the armies yet or the Air Force. It's new, so we're all learning from each other. There are those outside partnerships. Okay, next one. I'll just show you the examples. They all are ecosystems. This is the update. This is the modernization of the Marine Corps e-learning system. They've added new things, cloud-based. The same things are there, but when you look at the PowerPoint, you can just see it's a one-stop shop, and that takes a lot of stress off of you when you can go to one place. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, this is from UNESCO. And if you look, it's education information ecosystem. And I wanted you to see this because it's very focused, but it's very powerful because it's one stop. So, LASER is a tool to assess whether a country's education data ecosystem collects and leverages. So it's got a clear purpose, and you can learn more. It's got links, so you just go there and you find that information. I thought that was pretty cool. Next one. And this is kind of like, I think everybody sees this, here's the ecosystem, the main hub, but Frontier Technologies, and this is from UN Environment. You can see it's got augmented and virtual reality, mobile phone applications. So again, things, and if somebody came up with an idea, I know I love suggestions. Because of the technology and the AI, you can add to that at any time. It's dynamic, it's not stagnant. Next one, please. And this is what I was talking about. I created this just recently. Unfortunately, I can't give you access, but I can recreate it for you. But you can see what's important we need our tech tools, and I have educational. Canvas is very important here because we adopted it because of the data analytics, and we're trying to do very data-driven learning. It helps us capture trends where we're not doing so well. Remediation, we do that ADDIE model cycle, so we're constantly making it better. Resources, our library is phenomenal. Tech-related presentations, tutorials, we have LinkedIn Learning. If you see my policies, and that's where I have the, I think the first one, classroom tech support that's the help desk, sorry. I'm sorry, the AI resources. If you look, I can recreate, I can just add that to the Padlet, unless, it's proprietary, but a lot of these I can share. And if you look toward the bottom, AI shared instructional resources, and those are actual activities we've done that align to our standards that have really been beneficial for critical thinking, reaching higher levels. Again, I'm sure you have things to share because everybody can't think of everything. So next slide, please. So this is the basic concept. And, these are just general. It doesn't mean that you're limited to this or you shouldn't delete some of them, but it's an e-learning environment with educational technologies, authoring tools, anything you need are present for the sole purpose of instilling knowledge and developing skills for learners within the e-learning setting. So learner can be adult, learner can be executives, learner can be the government, learner can be, it's generic. So next slide, please. And this is just a breakdown of key aspects of it. The second one is really important, cognitive agility and continual growth. There's a whole theory too that's aligned with this ecosystem on principles of instructional design that promotes cognition. And it's phenomenal. I use them everywhere when I'm designing it. It's down to the font, what colors, it's where you place your text. It really, and people don't realize that, but you need to have good cognitive principles instilled, even with this PowerPoint. And sometimes I'm too text heavy, but if it works within that, if you notice, blue is a very good color for your eyes, soft green. So there's a whole theory there on how cognition promotes retention of knowledge. So, and you can see this guy was creative. If you want to go to the next slide, he's kind of moving down with you. And this is AI and learning ecosystems. So I was having fun with him. And if you look, it has had a huge impact. This is just more. So you have AI, but look at everything it impacts. And it's getting more sophisticated so that it can update automatically, analytics, just things like that. So let's go on to the next slide. And this is just, the capabilities, rapid data, just some more examples that, if you look at the bottom, it's just giving you, I just wanted to make sure that this was clearly defined when we're looking at AI and how it's interacting. Next slide, please. Because I even made some new discoveries as I was doing that. And, of course, the main thing, the ethical principles should be the starting point for you. And I will emphasize that AI is just another technology, only a very smart one, much, much, much smarter than, when we're just using MS Word. So let's look at the evolution and where we are today. And this is where I want to get into prompting. And this was a prompt I asked AI a couple days ago. I need to create a table with information on how AI has evolved with specific examples. Now, if you notice, I'm speaking to him like I may go, hey, Pat, can you help me? I need this. And here's an example so you understand me more. And no matter, how sometimes you can talk to someone till you're blue in the face and they're still not going to understand what you're saying. And then they come back and they go, well, what do you mean by this? It's the same thing. And this is what I came up with. And I will share this with you. But if you look, this is what it gave me. I checked my resources and you can see it starts with the era. What really resonated for me was how we started with Siri and Alexa. Siri and Alexa are very limited to commands. You know what they do. It's like raising a toddler, right? Okay, turn on the TV, turn off the TV. But Siri can't give you all that information. And then if you look at the categories, I'm going to show you a highlight of two that really came to the top. But it goes through what it became in interaction type, concrete examples, and then what changed for users and key enablers. And you can kind of look at each one individually. It's fascinating, just fascinating to see where we've come. Okay, if you want to go to the next slide, because this is what I think is probably the most important for everybody. So, and I wanted to show you this, because this is how I went back in and I said, if you look at my prompt here, I asked it for the sources and I said, give it to me separate. Now, the first one, I didn't get, and I may have missed it, but Siri, a first widely used voice assistant, historical development from Siri, additional history of conversational AI, and the links are there, and I checked them all. So, yeah, it's but if you don't do that, due diligence, really military term, do your due diligence, you really need to do that. Okay, next slide, please. So this is, I wanted to focus on this. The era of prompting and collaboration, and I did the same thing. What was my common sense? We need to have a process to show our students. Prompt engineering. Everybody started coming out with their own prompts. Here, you can go to this site, and if you want to locate information on marine biology or whatever, then this is what you do, and then you regroup. But we can do better because it became human-like partners. And then the same thing with the simple chatbots. You see, it started with Siri and Alexa. What it became, multimodal reasoning. It's amazing. So let's move on because I want to show you, I got a couple more exciting things. So this is just an example, prompt engineering. I developed that fact cycle for my, that's the training we do. And now I have to adapt it. Say, well, wait, it kind of works the same, but we're not just prompting. Next slide, please. This is just information, but I want to give you examples. In the beginning, the prompt, this was when I first started. I had my cute little, avatar, and it was create an image for language learning. If you can click on that, Pat. And I just went in to ChatGPT today. Ta-da! Now, is that, that's more, the audience. Now, what would I do? I didn't give it a lot of information, but I wanted you to see where they started. And then this is where we ended up. And of course, we can do better than that too if we want to further focus it. Yes, I know, Pat. Go, 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 go. He's going to kick me off. Okay. Anyways, and now even more, we're not going to do this, but I went on ChatGPT and it says it wanted me to, next slide. I was going to, but do this when you go home. It's so fun. Go to there. I would like to see my year in ChatGPT. It gave me statistics of my chats, and here's mine. You can do this. It's so fun. So look, you've got I was chattiest on November 18th. And look I only did 2. That's because the government blessed Copilot because it doesn't save our chat history. So I hate that it does that because I lost a really good prompt, but look at my messages, my images, look at this. So you can do that. Do that. Yeah, Jarrett, me too. We'll just do, I don't know, Pat, we're going to have AI day. Anyways, next, but you guys try this. It's so fun. Okay, next one, please. And again, this is, I wanted to show you this because this is an example. It's called Prompt Ed. You can get templated prompts, but now if you hit the next, yeah, because I have to show you one more thing. I'm going to end this. This is how they modernize. This is now look, we encourage to follow the structure of our prompts to revise and innovate their own. It never did that before. So this is what's that evolution I'm talking about. Next slide, please. Okay, so I wanted to show you, this is how we move into more cognitive learning using AI, Socratic dialogue. Okay, next slide. Now, I'm going to show you this because you need to be in Monterey with me sitting at Point Lobos. If you want to click it, it'll play. There was a pod of dolphins, and I sat there with my iPhone. So this is copyright free, and I just watched them. I mean, it's moving slower, but you can see the dolphins. Now, is it high level? No, but does it generate interest? Yeah. What is the importance of marine protected areas for the survival of dolphins? It meets up. This is a topic we talk about environment. It's good vocabulary, especially when you're deployed to another country in all languages, level 3 topic. Now, what's your prompt? So I was going to have you do it, but if you could click, I can show you what it gave me. This is a Socratic questioning activity. So you can see now, will I tweak it? And it just goes through it. You just, yeah, you can see and I want to show you what I got. So this is, you need to play around, but I didn't even ask it that much. You want to go to the next slide, please? But look at what I got. So I, do what I use, and then it's got an optional reflection, writing. So there's nothing wrong with this. As a matter of fact, now I can focus on tweaking. I can align it. A free Friday webinar, of course. Next slide.
That's what I said. Well, they wanted round 2. I said, we'll do a free Friday webinar here.
Yeah. Okay. So this is my important message. Some things never change, but they remain modern. The human, please, I saw an article, don't let AI make you lose your humanity. And I found this woman, Liz Kolb, clinical professor of education technologies, yada, yada. I checked her out. She's real. Teaching with technology is about the learning first and the tools second. Training with technology. So if you look at the red part, provide human oversight and governance, clear AI policies to maintain control and accountability, clear guidelines for students. I always leave out that last part of the parentheses. I think it's my learning disability. But, and the next slide.
There we go.
So questions, yeah. Can you go back one? And there is.
Yeah.
So the reason is this guy, I have my student's name and they named him Bot. So I have one named Chat, one named Bot. It's very unoriginal. But the reason the flowers are there is because I really encourage you to think about that learning ecosystem context. And, we did ours in SharePoint. You can do it on like Padlet. You can do it on anything where you can get people in, where they can access. Now, mine, I can't give them permissions. If you give people permissions, as you know, on a website or an LMS course, they're going to mess it up. So be careful. So please feel free to contact me. Happy to, talk more and share. And phew, thank you for being here.
You did it. And here we are at
Oh,
1
Pat, thank
o'clock
you for
on
doing
the
that. Oh my God. Hi, Valerie. Oh, thanks, you
awesomeness.
guys.
Yes, I definitely wanted to pop in and thank you as well. I've been trying
Yeah,
to lure
great
you
job.
back. And Susie, now you get to come back a second time.
I do.
'Cause
Oh my
I
goodness.
heard, I
That's
heard, I
right.
heard, I heard you agree to do part two.
I
Pat, didn't
did.
you
We
hear
Yeah,
that?
we
Well,
do.
because I really
And
want
those,
to do it where people can go in, because it's interesting when you have different people putting in prompts. Even if you put in the same prompt, you don't get the same information. So
we
yes.
do, and everybody knows, or if they don't know, if you're new, we do a lot of free Friday webinars throughout the year. USDLA does. So perhaps we'll do another one with Sandy to cover some of the
All right.
other things, because there was a lot here.
Yeah.
There was.
Yeah,
But the
there
end
I think
was.
was
that'd be
meant to
great.
more interactive, and I just.
Yeah.
All right.
I
Well,
think we'll send out the recording of this, or have a little watch party of this so people can refresh their minds. And then you can do a part two with us and
yeah, we'll be in touch.
let them do the
Definitely.
activities. Let them do the activities.
Yeah. Now, as far as sharing the PowerPoint, what I'll do is
Yeah.
should I just send you the PDF? I kind of don't like to send the,
I have your PowerPoint. I will convert it to a PDF.
Okay.
And we also recorded this, so we will have this hosted on usdla.tv, which is our
Okay.
YouTube channel, right? Easy one to remember, usdla.tv.
It's
We'll
very
get it up
easy.
on
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we'll get it up on our YouTube channel. And this recording will be up there by Monday. We'll have everything up there by Monday. And also on the public policy page, I'll have links to her PDF file. So
Good. All right. Well, my pleasure. You guys have a wonderful day, and good to see
nice
you.
job, Sandy.
Thank you so much,
you.
Sandy.
Thanks,
Just stay in
everyone. We hope to
Sounds
see
good.
everybody again at 3. We have another, is it 3 o'clock? We have another session at 3 or 4?
It is. And if anybody just
3
wants to stay
o'clock.
on and has any questions
No,
or
it's only 10
anything.
o'clock here.
Yeah, it depends.
Right.
Eastern,
time.
3
I
Eastern.
know. I was
No,
going
but
to come on at noon.
it's good to say that. Oh my
I
goodness.
know.